Guys, we're here at the BK Live event out in Scottsdale, Arizona. And we got my buddy Chad Burnham of
Yes, sir.
Proform Physical Therapy out here, looking all jacked. Chad, thanks for taking the time out of the day.
Oh,
It's like
absolutely.
2 long days to come and
Yo,
chat,
really?
man. It's been a good day.
It has.
So anybody that's listening that doesn't know Chad, I credit a lot of the stuff that I have going on in my life right now to Chad. Because we met at a business event when I was slacking on my own fitness, and he pulled my head out of my ass, and then I hired his coach, and that led me down to hiring my current business coach, a whole bunch of conferences, and opening a whole lot of doors that otherwise wouldn't have been open.
Hell yeah.
So thank you publicly,
No,
Chad.
absolutely, man. No, I appreciate that. That means a lot, man. And I do remember that and I remember you asking me, hey, what are you doing? Like, what's going on right now? And I kind of broke away from the whole traditional PT conferences and spent a lot of time going to like strength and conditioning conferences, coaching conferences. And that's where I met Allie. And then that just like opened up a whole bunch of doors for me to be like, man, we could totally just look at PT through a different lens,
Yeah, totally.
instead of just seeing it through that one lens that we've all been exposed to that, is good, right? But you can only take that so far. There's like a ceiling for that, I feel, and when you can get, people that are in different backgrounds, different industries that can give you, other ideas and kind of help you grow your business. It's like, man, that's pretty powerful. So
Dude, totally.
yeah.
And what I love about it is that you go to a PT conference, right, and the gym is empty in the morning.
I
Like, you
know.
can't even get into the gym.
So
You
true.
have to like go somewhere else, which is fine because the hotel gyms aren't the best anyways. But,
Yeah.
I think it's great just because, you go to a PT conference and it's like a bunch of fatties.
Dude, I talk about that all the time. I think I was just at a conference and there was nobody in there. I was like, man, you think you're at a PT conference right now? Everybody was like, whoa, shots fired. I'm like, yeah, but it's the truth though. That's what it is.
It
I'm
is.
sorry to say, but we're movement people, right? But we don't move. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's kind of discouraging. But
When Caitlin and I went to and set up a booth at CSM, we went to the hotel gym, right? And there was nobody. There was a
Nobody.
shit ton of people for the conference at our hotel, but there was
Yeah.
literally nobody in the gym. It was just Caitlin and I was like, this is sad.
it is sad, man.
Like, I don't know how people
It
get
is.
through PT school life, but especially PT school, without developing like a positive exercise habit.
Do you think it's shifting? Do you think it's changing? Like, do you think that more people are becoming more aware of the models that are available and like our scope of practice with physical therapy and what we, have the capability of doing?
Dude, totally.
Yeah.
So when I opened my practice was 2019. I keep wanting to say 2018.
Yeah.
2019. And there was nobody around me doing it, period. Like, I had no idea. Now there's little guys popping up all over the place, which is great. But even then, like, I was looking at the stats the other day. While the insurance clinics are declining in number over the last couple of years, the cash-based PT clinics have 300% increase over the last just few years. So there's more and more people coming up. It's not the old PTs. It's not the people that are stuck in their ways. There's a guy here that I was talking to that's had an insurance-based practice since 2008.
Sure.
Like, and he's like, oh, maybe I'll get in the performance model, but that never happens with the older folks, right? Like, they're stuck in their ways. They're not gonna to change what they're doing. But all these new cats coming up from school, I don't know about at your practice, but we get a lot of like PT students. They're like, hey, I already know this is what I want to do. I want to get in. I want to be in cash. I want to be in performance. I want to work with athletes, like actually work with athletes.
That's right.
I don't want to go to a company that says, sport in the name that sees a bunch of geriatrics. They're like, I want to actually work with people that value movement. So I think, there's a total shift.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, that's a good point. And I think it's great that kids are coming out with this idea of what they want to do. But I also think that we kind of paint this image of it's this easy to make our model this successful, right? Because it's not always that way. You know what I mean? And I will say firsthand, and I know you will too. We both worked for insurance-based models and cash-based models. And working in both models and actually being an owner of both models, I can tell you firsthand that being in the model that we're in now is more work. However, it's more gratifying. Like, you don't have the constant referrals from doctors coming to your office. You don't have the constant like calls from people being like, oh, it's a $30 copay. That's cool. Like, there's more involved than just people just assuming that, it's going to be just this low cost option to get me better. You know what I mean? There's a sales, there's a marketing and all of these processes that, that you've like have perfected over the years is not something that just happens overnight. And quite honestly, like some people have it and some people don't. And I tell people, like, you know, this model, it's a great model, but it's not for everybody. There are some people that are just meant better for the insurance-based model because they just don't have the ability to sell, right?
Yeah.
And as much as we don't want to be salesmen or women, like that's the deal. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? Like we're selling our service. We're selling you the vision of how you can become better. And if you can't do that, it's going to be hard to sell somebody a package that might be, you know, 10 times what they were thinking about spending when they first walked into your door, right? So I think that needs to be a little bit more of an awareness piece for some people, being like, hey, listen, it's not as easy as it looks. But I also think, with that being said, it's more fruitful and it's more gratifying for me. You know what I mean? Because you can spend the time with these patients, and you can I feel like you can enjoy being a physical therapist and not like being a scribe. You know what I mean? So
yeah, man. I used to take, because I tried so hard when I was in the insurance clinic. I've got like 3 different ways I want to take this conversation right now.
Totally.
When I was in the insurance clinic, I would take like 46 hours of notes home every day because I tried so hard to be present with my patients.
Totally.
I refused to put somebody on a hot pack or a treadmill for 20 minutes to go catch up on notes at somebody else's detriment. You know. So 2 thoughts. One, the business coaches in the space make it out to be like it's all going to be, lilies and butterflies. That's a weird thing to say, but either way, you're right. It's like rainbows and fucking unicorns, and that's not how it is. Like it's hard fucking work.
That's right.
Like there's no guidebook. There's no, like, you get in a business and you have to figure everything out, like every system, every process. How do we answer the phone? How do I take people's money? How do I have a conversation? Like every little detail you have to fucking learn.
That's right.
And Caitlin and I spent multiple 6 figures and 5 years trying to perfect these things, and we've changed the way we've operated like entirely, more than once, which sucks when you have employees and you're like, hey guys, just doing everything completely. I mean, more than I do, probably, because you guys, Chad used to take insurance, and then transitioned into a fully cash business.
That's right.
So my other thought there is maybe reframing that not everybody's good at sales. Which, not everybody's good at sales, but I think the bigger problem is that not everybody has the confidence, or the competence, to sell their skill set. Like it's hard to sell something that you don't believe in.
That's right.
Right? If you're like, I'm not worth this amount, I actually don't have the skill set, I don't know if I can help these people on a high level. Hell yeah, it's going to be hard to sell something. And then that leads me into, sorry, not to make a monologue. But there's levels to this shit, right? Like, even when I'm talking to like insurance-based providers that are interested in our mentorship program, like a lot of them don't realize that the bar is set really low. They think that they're really good because everybody around them sucks. Right? And they're like, oh, well, this person did a fellowship and this person did that. Doesn't matter. I know plenty of people that have done fellowships, residencies, OCS, that are terrible therapists.
Absolutely.
And it's because they're brought down to the level of the model, right? Where they could flourish. And then the cash PTs, they realize that they have to be on point, right? And they're like, there are levels to this stuff. And I mean, I don't know. That's about it, dude.
Well, yeah. And also, like, to kind of piggyback on that, like, you can be the most amazing therapist in the world, right? But if you can't show your patient or sell your patient that, then it doesn't really matter, right? I mean, I know plenty of therapists that are horrible clinicians, right? But make a killing because they can sell.
That's
right?
True.
But then I also know clinicians that are like really, really bad. You know what I mean? But it's just, dude, it's crazy, man. Like it can go both ways, right? But I think that if you can have the best of both worlds, being a good clinician, but also have the ability to sell, like you're unstoppable. You know what I mean?
And it's a skill.
Totally.
You got to learn it. It's uncomfortable. Right? Like, I didn't always do that. I had no idea what I was doing. I never sold anybody a fucking thing before I started selling cash PT. And I was like, how much is it?
Totally. And even like, so in working with other practitioners as well, like, I think the longer you're out, the harder it is to break those habits. And I blame the insurance-based model for that, because they've been tarnished into believing that they're only worth a $50 copay or a $40 copay. And in my experience over the last like couple years in working with some of these people is that it takes a solid 3 to 6 months to just get that out of their system.
Yeah.
Like it's a behavioral change. And once they get through the behavioral change, they're like, damn, you know, I can't believe I was actually thinking like this. It's like, I know. Isn't it crazy?
Totally.
Because they've been taught that's the way that they need to feel. That's their value. They've been told by Medicare or United that this is what they're worth. And that's not what you're worth, you know?
And as an aside, you guys, what Chad's talking about is Chad, since he's actually done the transition of going from insurance to cash based, like he now helps clinicians grow businesses. Right. He'll help them start fresh, but also if you have an insurance based practice and you're looking to go into the cash based world and make a full transition,
absolutely.
I don't know anybody else other than Chad that's done it and done it well, done it successfully.
Man. Appreciate that.
So if you guys need some help,
appreciate that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude. So then, you know, one of the biggest things, like kind of shifting gears entirely, one of the things that I get asked by people that go through our mentorship program at the end is like, how do I keep getting better at exercise prescription?
Yeah.
I'm interested to hear what you would tell somebody.
Yeah. And that's a great question. And I think that, again, I think for me, it's because our model and this is, I mean, this kind of goes for both models, insurance and cash, honestly, I think. But in our model, I totally believe that you need to be outside the scope of physical therapy. Like I've gained so much more with exercise prescription in going to, in talking with strength and conditioning, you know, specialists, you know, strength and conditioning coaches, you know, athletic coaches. And they are the ones that have been on the lines. They understand like prescription better than PTs, I think personally. Now I'm not going to say that, I mean, I'll say that there are some PTs out there that are amazing at it, right? But not every PT is amazing at exercise prescription, especially when we're talking about whether it's like, you know, rehabbing an ACL or getting somebody back to play after sport like injury or anything, right? Like even just general like foundational movement patterns of hip hinging or squatting or lunging. Like a lot of these PTs have no idea how to appropriately not even assess, but perform these actions. Like sad.
Yeah,
it's sad,
dude. That's a big part of the mentorship program that we developed because of that, right? It's like, so there's no exercise prescription progression education for real in
totally
school, right? Like nobody teaches you how to squat, how to hinge, how to look at those movements, how to break them down, how to assess if somebody even has the mobility. Or like, you know, you want to see most therapists just draw a complete blank, ask them to figure out why somebody has a hip shift when they're squatting. They're like, I don't know. I ask somebody to evaluate someone that only has pain. Ask a PT to evaluate someone that only has pain when they're deadlifting 405. It's the only time my back hurts.
Right.
How are you going to figure it out?
Totally. And how can we consider ourselves movement specialists if we can't identify those?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Totally.
Yeah. So getting outside the scope of like PT and engrossing yourself in a bigger strength and conditioning community, I think it's great. That's been super helpful for me. I rely heavily on the what I've learned from local strength and conditioning coaches to my practice. You know, I don't CrossFit anymore, but I had the CrossFit gym and I was doing a lot of Olympic weightlifting and I dabbled in powerlifting. I think that's a huge part of it too, is like widening your own exercise, right? One, first of all, if you don't lift, like you're never going to be good at it. You can't be good at something you don't do.
That's right.
Right?
1000%.
So like, one, start lifting. Hire a fucking coach, right? Like, we have the same coach.
Yeah, we
do.
I
have a coach. You have a coach.
And I'll tell people too all the time, it's like, you know, you're a hypocrite, right? Because if you are telling these, you know, injured athletes, or you're telling these patients they need you as a physical therapist, right? And they need you to help them, you are essentially their coach, right? But who's your coach? Who's helping you progress? Whether it's in business, whether it's in, you know, your own training or your own nutrition or whatever it is, like you're the biggest hypocrite of them all. Like you're telling people that they need a coach, but you don't have one. Well, you know everything, I guess. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I agree. And I gained so much just from our coach that we've worked with in whether it's exercise prescription or even how I might go about training somebody. You know what I mean? I utilize some of those techniques, and that for me has been twofold. Like not only is it good for me, you know, as an individual, but I'm also now using some of this stuff with my patients and clients. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, dude, I use it all the time.
Totally.
Like whenever I'm going through a phase, I'm always like, how do I take this and apply it to a rehab setting or like
1000%,
whatever, like performance afterwards. people are like, damn, these workouts suck. Where do you come up with them? I'm like, this is my personal fitness
And I'm
program.
just like, anything that you've gone through, I've already been through. So I already know how it feels.
I know exactly how it
Yeah.
feels. And that's a big thing, is that people put physical therapists or people put patients through an exercise regimen and have absolutely no idea how it feels. Like, dude,
Totally.
you have no idea what the volume or the rep scheme or the tempo. Like, when you talk to physical therapists and you talk about tempo, they're like, what is that? What does that mean?
Yep. But think about it too.
What?
Like, how much more credibility do you think you have from your patients and clients when they see you doing it, right? And then you tell them to do it. They're like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm going to listen to you. Like, there's credibility there. You know what I mean? And the fact that you're like demonstrating this and you're practicing what you're preaching, it's not like you're telling them to do something that you would never do or had never done. You know what I mean? So I think that goes along with our model too. And it creates like buy-in, and it overall creates the value that you're trying to show them you're worth, right? Because it's like, what type of physical therapist or trainer would I be if I told you to do something and I would never do it myself? You know what I mean? Or have never done it myself.
Yeah, huge hypocrite.
Yeah, totally.
I had something to say and I totally
forgot.
I was like so engrossed with what you were saying, and I was like, I'm gonna hold on to this so I can pay attention. Gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's like, oh, that's what it was. Something that you love to talk about is like, your body is your business card, right? Like, people walk into your clinic, they walk into my clinic, and we automatically have credibility just based off the way that we look.
No doubt.
And I had an experience once that made me really realize that. As a student, it was my very first clinical rotation, and I had a CI that was very round.
Mm-hmm.
And I had multiple patients listen to her and then turn to me in front of her. Like, she's there, right? And I'm there. And they're like, okay, cool. But you look like you know what you're talking about. So what do you think about this?
Oh.
I'm just like,
really though?
Yeah, legitimately, like right in front of her. I'm like, that's kind of disrespectful, kind of sucks, but also,
hey, wake up.
Yeah, right. That's like, you put yourself in that position, and I'm like, well, I'm just a student. I agree with what she said.
Yeah. You know what? It's funny, when I said that too, I got a lot of shit for that, and I don't regret saying it. I still don't regret saying it, because somebody needs to be real with these people and just let them know that, like, this is, as much as it sucks and as much as it sounds like it shouldn't be, it is. And that's just the way it is. Like, you're not going to change the way people feel. Like, if you look a certain way, you're going to command a certain type of respect. If you look a certain type of way, like, you're going to just grab this type of attention, right? Like, you're going to, just have this type of authority. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? And if you're a trainer, or if you're a physical therapist and you're like, hey, I want to teach you how to move better, or I want to, help you add 5 to 10 pounds or whatever it may be, and you don't do it yourself, you're not a very good business card for yourself. And I say this all the time, and I know people get like all butthurt about it. It's like, yeah, but I don't have to be in shape, or I don't have to have abs to have you have abs. It's like, that's fine. I totally understand that, but you're also not helping anybody. Like, when you look a certain way, like, because part of that is the buy-in value, and you're not giving anybody any like type of value in terms of like them feeling like confident, or them feeling, like good about you as having them as a coach. Like, it's just not what it is. Like, I'm sorry.
That kind of irritates me. Honestly,
totally.
Because that's just, they're trying to justify
absolutely
disrespecting themselves, right? Like, if you guys are listening to this right now and you're offended, good.
Yes.
Use it to go fucking not be.
That's right.
Disrespectful to yourself. Like,
that's right.
If you look at the mirror and you're like, God, I don't like that, fucking change it. Right.
Yeah. And this applies to everything, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we can take it outside the realm of fitness. Like, hey, are you going to hire an accountant or hire a financial advisor that, can't pay their bills?
Is broke.
Do you know what I mean? Or hire a dentist that has no teeth. I'm sorry. Like, that's just the way it is. If I walked into a dentist chair and this dude had like crooked teeth or no teeth, I'm pretty sure I'm going to find a different dentist. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's just what it is. So it's the same. The principle is the same. It's just a different industry,
Dude, absolutely. 100%. I've always thought about it like, well, I wouldn't hire a fat personal trainer. I wouldn't take advice from a doctor that smokes.
That's right.
But I've never thought about it. It's like, I wouldn't see a dentist with no teeth or quick fucked up.
Hey,
it's exactly what it is.
Totally.
It does not matter what it is. It's like, I wouldn't go to a mechanic whose car never works.
Dude, totally.
Like,
1000%. Or like, it's funny, where we live, we're like surrounded by landscapers. you know, and they all take care of their lawns, right, as they should, right?
Yeah.
But what if you owned a landscaping company and you had your truck parked out in your driveway, and your lawn was burnt to shit, or you don't ever cut it, and it's like, why would you do that? That's not even a good representation of your business.
It's
You know what I
very
mean?
true.
And that is how I look at it. When, you know, like you and I both have that saying where it's like, you know, does your PT even lift? It's like, yeah, because we do. Like, and I put that on the back of my shirt on purpose. You know what I mean? And people think that sometimes it could be like personal trainer, which I get it, they're synonymous. But also, like, yeah, if I'm gonna put that on the back of my shirt, it means that's what it is. Like, does he? Does she? If they don't, then you need to find somebody that does, if that's your goal. Like, I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And I know you're a great advocate for that too. So that's just what it is.
100%. Like, if you want to work with athletes, you want to work with active adults, you want to work with people, like you want to do what we do, you have to look the part.
That's right.
Right? Because if you don't, nobody takes you seriously. Right? Like, if I'm an athlete and I'm going somewhere and you're like, I'm going to help you get back to lifting, and you don't look the part, I'm sorry. It's like the dentist with the crooked teeth. It doesn't make any sense. If you have to live the lifestyle, especially if you're asking for cash.
No doubt.
Like, it definitely makes it easy. Like, I'll have people that say that when they come in, and they're like, oh, well, you know, I just want to be, I don't want to be jacked like you, but like, I want to be acting people lift and all that stuff. And I'm like, one, thank you.
Yes.
Two, like, I work incredibly hard to look this average.
That's right. Yes. This average. But no, seriously though, because I mean, I don't even hand out business cards anymore. Like, all I do is I just wear my brand, whether it's my hat, my shorts, my shirt, you know what I mean? And if you look a certain way and your shirt says what you do, there shouldn't be any more explanation. It's just, where are you located, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because on the way walking in here, one guy asked me, he goes, hey, are you a trainer or something? And I was like, well, I'm a trainer, but I also do physical therapy. And he's like, man, he's like, how do I get jacked? And I'm like, cool, great question. But would you have asked me the same question if I didn't look the way I did? Nope.
No.
You wouldn't have. Like, how many people walk by you and say, oh, you're a physical therapist? That's cool. Or, oh, you look like you lift? That's cool. Like, I don't have to pass out business cards when I go to conferences. It's an automatic conversation starter. That's just what it is.
100%.
You know what I mean? And I don't do that like on purpose. It's just, that's the way people operate. That's what the way they think.
Well, because when you look a certain way, like, you kind of command respect when you walk into a room, especially from people that don't look that way. Either way, right? So if somebody doesn't look that way, they're like, oh, look at that guy, he's jacked. He's probably on steroids.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Yeah, but then every single other person that's in the room that's jacked also instantly you gain their respect, because it's that mutual understanding. And then it leads into just like the qualities you have as a human, right? Because the more fit I am, the more I focus on my fitness, the better my relationship is, the better my business is, the better my relationship with my kids are. Like, everything in my life goes better. My stress is less. I still have a lot of stress, but like, I deal with it a lot better, of course. Right? Because being a business owner is stressful.
That's right.
But like, if I were to have two candidates for a position, and one of, like, even if they were equal, or even if one was a little bit better than the other, and they were out of shape and one was in shape and looked the part, like, I'm going to hire the person that looks the part, because then they're going to represent my brand well and what my brand stands for.
That's right.
You know, like, I don't want to hire somebody. I don't care how good of a therapist you are. If you can't represent what my brand stands for, like, why would I bring you on board?
It's all part of the culture. Yeah. And if you can't be part of the culture, that's fine. I'm not saying you're a bad person. You're just not the right fit for us. You know what I mean? And I mean, we are at the Bedros live event. So like, I think it's very fitting to quote Bedros in saying that he grabbed my attention a couple of years ago when he said, like, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I think that's completely 1,000% true. Like, how you take care of yourself, whether it's through your fitness, how you take care of yourself, whether it's through your diet, bleeds into everything else that you do, most likely, right? Like, you're going to go in my house and my house is going to be clean. You're going to go in my truck and my truck's going to be spotless, because that's just the way that I keep shit. Because yes, I know I have some OCD, but also like, I take care of my shit. Like, I take care of all of my stuff just like I do my body. You know what I mean? And you better believe that's how I run my fucking business too. You know what I mean? So it's like, when people know that about me, they understand, they're like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, now I get it. You know what I mean? Because, you know, how I do anything in terms of like how I do my daily stuff, how I do my training, how I do my nutrition is how I run my business, is how I, you know, is how I raise my children. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is all stuff that people can look at and be and say, oh, well, why are you going to be like so strict? Or why are you going to be like that? It's like, because that's just the way that I am. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't change it.
It's a choice. I don't have to do anything.
That's right.
This is the way I like to live my life. because it creates order instead of chaos.
That's right.
Right. So like, then you know that you're determined. You know that you're hardworking. You know that even when you don't want to do something, you fucking get it done.
That's
If
right.
you got to get up early, you get up early. If you got to stay up a little late, you stay up a little late.
Yep.
And most of all, you're probably prepared for
Right.
everything, like in advance.
That's right.
You know, you're not swinging it by the seat of your pants. You can't just like not prep food and have nothing prepared and
That's
then
right.
expect to slim down or bulk up. And if you're just making it
And
up
to
on the
go
fly.
further on your point, like, yes, it goes far beyond the physical aspect. You're just like, yeah, you didn't get the job because you just don't look the part, right? It's like, yeah, you don't look the part, but also how you look right now is also telling me a lot about how you are as a person,
Mhm.
right? And yes, maybe you aren't a good fit for our culture, but you're probably not going to get your shit done on time. Like, you're probably not going to be here on time. Like, you're not going to be a responsible like employee. Like, all those things are the things that I think about.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, that's just what it is. So how you represent yourself is how I look further into you as a person, whether it's true or not. That's just what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great clarification because that's really what I meant by that.
That's
Instead
I know
of
what you
just
meant.
like,
Yeah,
instead
I
of
know what
just
you
being
meant by
like,
that. I got you. I
you're
got
fat,
you.
you don't get a job. No,
But
it's
but
the
that's true
habits.
though, because in my business, like, everybody eats healthy. Like, we're all on the same eating schedule. There's a line for the microwave. It's bad, bro. Like, it's everybody brings their meals in. Like, everybody's prepared. Like, I close the clinic from 12 to 2 every day, and everybody works out. They get their workout in. Whether it's they go for a walk outside, whether it's I got one guy's training for a marathon. You know, one guy's just, he's just always just like prepping for something. Whether it's just being, he calls it bouncy. He's a big basketball guy, so it's like he wants to be more bouncy. He wants to be faster. He just wants to stay in shape, right? Some people go in the sauna. Other people like lay out in the sun or whatever. Like, it's that time for them to, get things done that they wouldn't normally get done during the day, right? You can't use time as an excuse at my facility. You just can't, because I'm giving you the time. Take the time, right? And if you don't use it, then you're not a good fit for us. You know what I mean? That's just what it is.
Don't let them eat out of plastic.
That's right. And they don't eat out of plastic. I had my first PT did, though, for like the first 3 months. And I'm like, yo, you got to get rid of that. I actually bought him a whole set of glassware.
I saw that. That's why I brought it up. I was like, oh, that's great. And then I was like looking, I was like, shit, do I have a bunch of plastic?
Yeah.
Nah, he's mostly glass.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's it. But that's all part of the culture, right? Like,
Yeah.
that started with me, right? And that bled into my clinic director, and that bled into my admin staff. And then now that bleeds into everybody, right? So when you come in here, like, this is how it is. Like, yeah, you don't have to do it, but you're going to do it because you don't want to be the one person that doesn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a good thing for you. We're not doing it because we want to be like bullies. Like, let's just be honest. Like, we're helping you out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just part of the culture. And that is what has led to our success as a team. You know what I mean?
Dude, well, it's the people you surround yourself with.
1000%.
Right? It's like if you surround yourself with a bunch of potheads, you're probably going to be a pothead, right? Like,
totally, man.
That's what I did when I was a teenager. You know? And now it's like I try to surround myself with people that are much further in business, people that are very fit, people that are doing big things.
Yep.
And guess what? I'm starting to become more and more like those people.
You are, though. And I would say, I think you've always been, ever since I've known you, you've always been like that. But I think you've definitely jumped up a level for sure on that. You know what I mean? And I give you a lot of respect for the risks that you take. You know what I mean? Because it's not a lot of risk that people would take. That, like, PTs in general, I think, are very risk adverse. Totally. You know what I mean? And for you to take that risk to like make this profession better, or take this risk so that other people can be better clinicians or run better practices, is like, somebody needs to do it. You know what I mean? And I mean, obviously you're a great example of that. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't do it. I can't do it. Like, I wouldn't, I don't have the time. And I know that's an excuse, but I don't want to get divorced. But also, like, I think you would do a better job at it than me. And I'm here to support you in doing that. You know what I mean? And that's why I want to be here, because I want to support you, because I know that what you're going to do is going to be great. You know what I mean? And you'll do it better than me. So I think that we need more people like you doing stuff like that, because without that, we just stay in this, this like plateau of PT that's been like this for the past 60, 70, 80 years. You know what I mean?
Everybody's so afraid to offend people. Like, yeah, cool. Not everybody's going to jive with me.
That's right.
Right? Like, people are going to get offended. People are going to watch this. They're going to get offended. I'm going to lose YouTube subscribers. Like, I don't care. They're not my people, right? If you're offended, like, please leave. Right?
That's right.
There's the door. If you like this, then
that's right.
Stick around. You'll get some more of it because it's realness. But I appreciate that. I really do.
Yeah,
Because there's not a lot of like people that are genuinely root for you, genuinely support you, and
that's right.
that's again who you surround yourself with. You
That's right.
know, and it is a lot of risk. Like
Totally,
people
man.
have no. I had somebody the other day ask me, they're like, "Well, can you do it for less?" And I just looked at them. And I said, "I could do it for more."
Yeah.
And like that's it. That's all I said. Like, well, we're talking about mentorship for like, oh, this sounds so great. And like, but can you do it for less? And just straight in the face. And I was like, I could do it for more.
It's funny because people
And they're
don't
like, what do you
realize that.
mean?
It's like,
Like,
yeah, totally. Because when they see the number, they don't understand where the value comes from, right?
yeah,
Yes, the value is not this 1 hour, right? It's the years that I spent getting to this 1 hour for you. Like
yeah,
I have condensed this time for you for 1 hour, but it took me 10 years to make sure that I can give you that 1 hour of time that can give you the most benefit in that 1 hour.
yeah,
That's what you're paying for. You're not paying for the 1 hour. You're paying for everything that goes in or that went into the ability to help you in that 1 hour.
yeah. But
You know what I
nobody
mean?
thinks
Nobody
of that.
thinks like that
No.
though.
I mean, the cash PTs get it.
Of
The
course,
guys,
of course.
and I'm not saying anything really negative about like the guys that we work with in the insurance.
Yeah, for sure.
practice, right?
For sure.
People come in. I'm clarifying for you guys out there that are in the insurance world listening right now. Like you're just stuck in a system, and it's just a different thought process that
Totally.
you get.
Totally.
You know?
And I don't fault, I'll preface this too. Like I don't fault the PTs for treating the way they treat. The system is set up for them to fail.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is,
100%.
right? And I get the stuckness. I do. Stuckness, is that a word?
It is now.
It is now.
Yeah.
I get the stuckness of being in an insurance-based model, but also you have a choice. And your choice is you could either feel stuck or you can make the change. What do you want to do? The change could be, hey, I go and do my own thing. The change could be, hey, Roger's got a great facility down the road and he's hiring. I'm going to go check that place out. You know what I mean? But the choice is either you do something or you don't do something. Either way, you're making a choice. And if you're going to continue to make the choice to stay in the insurance-based model, then stop your fucking bitching. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to fucking hear that you don't get reimbursed enough money. I don't want to hear that you work a bunch of hours. I don't want to hear that you're burnt out. I don't want to fucking hear it.
It's a victim mindset.
Totally.
You know, like, oh, I'm a victim of the world. Like, no, you have a choice.
That's
the
right.
pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of change. The pain of staying the same has to be greater than the pain of change, and change is scary.
That's right.
It's risky. People don't know, so they just stick to what they know. You know, I think what allows me to take a lot of risk is just my life experiences. Right?
Totally.
Like when I was, I had a very tumultuous childhood. Right, like. Not to go too deep, but well, maybe we're gonna go deep. But, like I went into foster care when I was 3.
No kidding.
I found out I was an adult because my mom was like flipped her truck when she was driving drunk and went to rehab. So me and my sisters went to rehab, foster care, and then I went through like the whole like behavioral health network in Western Mass, like Providence, Brightside, 4th floor, Bay State. And then when I got out, my dad got custody of me, moved me down to Florida like the next day, and then I moved around every 6 months. And I found out I was an adult because my mom was trying to find us. Every time she found us, we'd fucking move. Right?
Oh my gosh.
Which is kind of fucked up too because I told you we're not going deep.
Yeah.
We're going deep. So my dad became super fucking abusive. I mean, like, get on top of you, me, choke me unconscious while punching me in the face until I just woke up later. Like, kick me in the face with steel-toed boots, put my head from the fucking living room to the kitchen, but through the wall.
Totally.
Kinds of shit. And then he had a heroin addict fiance that like sexually got off on watching fucking whip my ass. So then like that was a pretty fucking tumultuous childhood. And then I would get beat up at school all the time because I had problems at home, but then I was afraid my dad would whip my ass if I fought back. And they told me, if you keep getting your ass whipped, I'm gonna whip your ass every time you get home. So then I learned from a young age that violence is the answer. Doesn't matter what the problem is. So I was like 8 years old and I just literally fought every day until pretty much I joined the Marine Corps at 16.
Yeah.
So then, and I would like, here's more fucked up shit. I would tell him that, I'm going to call my mom and she's going to come save me. And my mom's a lesbian, right? She's married to a woman. And he would tell me as a kid, she'd be like, well, she's not going to believe you. Call her. I'll give you her number. Because she hates you because you're a man and she's a lesbian and she hates men. So she hates you. So I would call her and she wouldn't believe me. So like I grew up with this fucked up perception as a kid.
Yeah.
And then it's somewhere along the line, she like moved down to Florida because I moved to Florida after she got custody of me.
Yeah.
And then she moved in, somehow got him to move back up to Massachusetts, got custody again. Well, I went back to foster care. I was like 12, 13. And then she got custody of me when I was in foster care, and I moved back home, and he moved out, and then I got kicked out at 14 because at that point I was a knucklehead, man.
Yeah, right.
When I was in that second foster home, or the second time I was in foster care, I got into drugs. I was 12. I had this 16-year-old foster brother, Ricardo. I was like crying in bed one day, and he was like, "Hey man, you look pretty sad. You want to hit this blunt?" And I was like, "Sure." And he's like, "Hey man, you want to eat these mushrooms?" I'm like, "Okay." He's like, "Drink this." So I got into like a bad way early on, and then it just got worse as a kid. So then, my mom had her own tumultuous. She was a kid. Like, I don't fault her at all. She was a kid, had a kid, like had her first kid at 16, had me at 18. She was trying to figure it out, and I was a knucklehead. Like, I got suspended from like kindergarten, or kicked out because I kicked the principal in the shin and then pushed her on the stairs, and she broke her arm. Yeah, I was a complete shithead, right? So like, I had all these experiences, and then I got kicked out at 14 because I was ruining my mom's life and her relationship and everything. And she was like, "You can handle yourself. You got to fucking figure it out." Wow. So then I was like couch surfing, and ended up staying at somebody's house where their mom kicked them out for doing drugs and then let me stay in his room. And then he was pissed that I didn't give him security code to the house. So I'm like, "Fuck you, bro. This is my living situation now." And then I joined the Marine Corps, at 16, because I had like a drug-induced moment of clarity. I was like 6 or 8 ecstasy pills deep one day. And I just looked around everybody around me, and I was like, "Dude, you guys are all losers. I got to get away from Springfield." Wow. And then, so then I went to my mom's house, probably still high as hell. And I was like, "I need you to sign some papers." And then, she signed. She was like, "Thank God," right? Because I was voted most likely to like end up in jail or dead. Yeah. And then I went to MEPS, like to ship out, and they overbooked the flight. And in that time period, I almost fucked my life up again because there was like a 5 or 6 month delay. Jeez. Where I was supposed to go to court for stealing cars the day that I went to boot camp. And my mom just went to court with the paper saying I joined the Marine Corps. And I just hoped for the best.
Oh my gosh.
And then, so then I was 17, active duty, training for my first deployment. And then I was 18 on my first deployment. I was a corporal. I was a non-commissioned officer in charge of Marines in the middle of fucking Ramadi, Iraq. And then I was 20. I went to Marja. I was in the initial invasion for Marja with battalion. Like, it was just a shit show. So set up, we're not going deep. So we're just keeping surface level, just surface level. But looking back at that, bring it all back around, like, I think that's what allows me to take risk and like not totally care. I'm like, what's the worst that happens? Like, I'm not gonna fucking.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, that all that sucks. You know what I mean? But would you be the same person today if it didn't happen like that?
Dude,
I don't know.
100% no.
So you know what I mean? So like, it sucks, right? But we have to look at some of the positives of this. Like, I definitely didn't have a childhood like you, but I had a dad that was kind of a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? Yeah. And there was nothing that was ever good enough for him. You know what I mean? And still to this day, like, I'm like, what would my dad think? What would my dad think about this? Like, if I didn't do it like perfectly, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because nothing I ever did was perfect. But, and I know my wife gives me a lot of shit about this, but it's like, that's how I run my life now. Everything has to be perfect. And it fucking sucks. You know what I mean? But also, like, I don't think I would be in the place that I'm in now if I didn't have that type of upbringing. Like, if I just got everything I wanted and everything was perfect, I probably wouldn't. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's no other appreciation. But like you, where it's like, what's the worst that can happen? I've already been on the bottom. Fuck it. I can only go up. You know what I mean? So I think that, looking back on it and trying to find the positives out of all those negatives is, I think probably made you the person you are today, even though it sucks that it had to be like that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, I appreciate that. I don't share that like as a
no, I get
story,
it.
But like,
no. But it's true though, because so many people like look at that and they're like you said, they play the victim card. You know what I mean? But you got over that. You're like, yo, I'm not going to be the victim. I'm going to use this and, and be a better person, or, start a business or whatever. Right. Yeah. Like,
don't get it twisted. I've gone intentionally and fucked my life up so many times as an adult.
For sure.
It took me a long time to pull my head out of my ass.
Of course.
Make an appointment to go to therapy for years and just not go because other people have it worse.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I intentionally just chase around women that I knew were going to destroy my life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the one.
Yeah.
I'm going to chase it now. I've got fucking Caitlin. She's amazing. And it's like,
she's
it's a challenge because she's so great. And I have to not like fall back into old habits of fucking my life. It's hard. It's a hard thing.
Of course.
But thank God for her.
Just
on the side.
Yeah.
Oh my God. She's a godsend. And I'm sure I know I get on her nerves just because of,
for sure,
who I am. But like, we work through it.
Dude, you know what though? Like, I don't know of any marriage or any relationship that's perfect. And if it is, there's probably something wrong, quite honestly.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my wife and I talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, if we get into an argument, it's like, these are kind of normal. Like, these are fine.
Dude,
like,
totally. Yeah.
There's ways to get around them, but also like if you're the type of person that's just like, oh, me and my wife never fight. It's like, yeah, probably because you're a bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you fucking just
Yeah.
balls are in reverse.
Oh my god. Seriously. But yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say, bringing it back around to like how you do anything is how you do everything.
That's right.
That's how my whole life has been. So like I continue to take risks and do these things. Nothing was ever perfect. So guess what? Now every fucking meal that you eat's perfect. Everything
right.
you prep, every like how clean your house, like all that stuff comes down to the how you do anything is how you do everything. And it starts at a young age. You know? So
I totally agree with that.
just trying to loop that back into the conversation somehow.
Yeah. No, but I think what you've done and the risk that you're taking right now, I know it's a huge risk, but I think it's going to pay off huge. You know what I mean? I can already see what's happening so far, and I can already see the feedback, and it's super, super positive. And honestly, I'm glad to be a part of it. You know what I mean? And like in one way or another, you know, if it's promoting it or it's like being able to use you as a resource for people that are looking to improve their clinical skills, like that's like what I need. You know what I mean? I need people that I can send other people to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's the whole your network is your net worth thing, right?
1000%.
The more people you know, it's just like bringing it back to the strength and conditioning coaches. Like if you didn't know those people, if you didn't develop that relationship, you wouldn't build that skill set. You wouldn't have that resource to then get your people a better outcome. And you know, if we're bringing it back to something you said earlier about like late stage ACL rehab, dude, if you fucking don't know what you're doing, find someone that does and ask them to
1000%.
help you. Like it's not that hard,
1000%.
you know. But if you don't know anybody, you can't ask them. So like getting out there, building your network. And that just makes you even more valuable to everybody.
That's
makes you be able to be more helpful and just helps you grow. But that's the thing, right? Like we're able to take the things that we've gone through and turn it into growth and then look at it and say, hey, how can I intentionally maybe create some hardship? Like you've signed up for your first bodybuilding show.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's your 7 weeks out.
I know.
Sure it's terrible right now.
Super uncomfortable about it. I'm not going to lie. But you know what? It was funny because, and Flex Lewis was one of the people that I wanted to watch today because, you know, and his story kind of like resonated with me in the sense of it. Look, we talk about it all the time, but when you hear it from somebody else, it just means more, right? So it's like the whole feeling of like doing uncomfortable things. You know what I mean? And this is super uncomfortable for me. I don't want it. Honestly, I don't want to do it. But I know I have to do it because it's only, I think there's only going to be like good things that are going to come out of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't care if I go in there and, you know, win or anything or, you know, don't place, but like the fact that just getting on stage is a huge feat for me and something that I would never normally do. You know what I mean? And I think that right there is going to help me, you know, grow, you know, personally, you know, and professionally, you know what I mean? So it's like, when people don't take like those risks or put themselves in uncomfortable positions, that's what they do. They just stay comfortable. And that's what we're talking about. Like that's this insurance-based model. It's comfortable. Yeah. It's a safety net, right? Yeah. Like I don't want to leave my safety net. I'm comfortable here, you know? But the second you go outside the uncomfortable, you know, it's like, man, what am I doing here? You know? And I always tell people like, I love to be the elephant in the room. I love being uncomfortable now because I know I've only grown from it. You know what I mean? Is it uncomfortable? Yeah, it's why they call it uncomfortable. But like, but I feel like the more uncomfortable things that you do, the more comfortable you feel with being uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I always tell, because people like will always ask me, they're like, so you're a physical therapist, you've got a faux hawk and you've got sleeve tattoos and you obviously look like you work out. Do you find that like is a deterrent for growing your business? And I said, honestly, I think it's the exact opposite. I think because I'm the unicorn, I think that it only helps me. And it helps me because I utilize it in a way where I try to make it my superpower, where it's like, you know, I say that I'm the unicorn in the room. I'm not like trying to cower over here and not do anything about it. Like all the messages that I put out is pretty direct and I don't care, right? And I get more people that will say, hey man, I love that message or I love what you're doing than people that are like, yo, bro, you're 40 and you got a faux hawk? Grow up. It's like, I don't care. Do people actually say that to you? Oh yeah. So it's one of two things. It's either my haircut, get another barber, or it's I'm on steroids. That's a common one. You know what I mean? Or you look like an idiot, or how can anybody take you seriously? You look like a moron. But hey, that's fine. People can say that. You know, we all know that they're only saying that because they got their own issues they're dealing with. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, it doesn't bother me. It used to bother me. But if I didn't keep doing that and keep on putting that stuff out there, because people talk about that all the time where they're just like, oh, you just got to put it out there and just, you know, you just have to just get used to it. It's like, some people can do that some people can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people have the ability to disregard that and say, I don't really care. Some people take it personally, you know, and I think those people that take it personally are going to have struggles with everything that they do in life because they're so worried about what other people think. I don't care anymore, but I did care. I used to care a lot, you know. Now I don't care, and I think it's only helped me grow in, you know, in more ways than
100%. If we loop that back into physical therapy,
totally,
that's like, you know, there's still people in there that's in the insurance realm that speak poorly about cash-based practices.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're selfish. You're taking good care away from patients. You're not doing the right things by your patient. And it's like,
yeah,
no, like we're doing this so we can help that.
That's right.
Like, how the fuck am I going to help somebody well when I've got 4 patients that come in all at the same time?
No.
And there's a 30% cancel rate, so they overbook 30%,
That's right.
expecting it to cancel down. So sometimes I've got 7 or 8.
That's exactly what happens. Yep.
Like, how am I going to help somebody? You can't help anybody.
Nope.
You know?
Nope.
But yeah, I mean, getting uncomfortable. It is what it is. If you guys want growth, like you have to be uncomfortable. Nothing good comes from inside of the comfort zone.
Absolutely.
So like putting yourself in uncomfortable situations doesn't have to be anything extreme. Like Caitlin loves extreme uncomfortable things. She's like, let's go. Like she left her house one day and just ran like a 50K or some shit. Like just completely untrained. Like it was ridiculous. But she's always like, let's do hard shit. She's like, extreme hard shit. Like, you know what's hard for most people is like not hitting the snooze button.
Totally.
It's like not reaching into the bag of Cheetos, Doritos. It's going to the gym when they don't want to. It's,
That's right.
Hey, I'm really fucking irritated with my wife right now, but instead of being a dick, I'm just going to shut the fuck up. Or maybe even say, hey, you seem really frustrated. Can you tell me a little bit about like what's going on for you? Like, that's really fucking hard to do. It's really uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be these big grandiose things. But when you do all of these things consistently, it's just easier to do it all consistently.
Yeah, and think about being uncomfortable, right? And like relating it back to cash pay, right? Or our model in terms of not accepting insurance. Like what's the most uncomfortable thing that clinicians deal with?
Somebody telling you no?
Well, somebody telling you no, or at that point in time where they have to tell them how much it's going to cost.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like how uncomfortable is that the first time you do it when you're just like, oh yeah, so it's going to be a couple $1,000s. Not everybody's super comfortable with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like if you can't be comfortable talking about that and you can't sound confident in delivering that, nobody's going to buy it.
Yeah. Well, it's like going to, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I was going to say, it's like going to buy a used car. Like this is kind of what I use as an analogy. Not that we're used car salesmen, but if you go and you check out a car and everything seems great, you take it for a test drive, everything's awesome, you start talking about the price and the sales guy just gets fucking weird.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to buy that car.
That's right.
Because your like little radar goes off and you're like, something's wrong here. There's something they're not telling me. I'm going to go somewhere else versus just like, this is how much it costs. It is an uncomfortable thing because we're not,
of course,
we don't ever talk about money. We don't ever deal with copays.
That's right.
And you're used to people being like, $50 copay, I'm not doing this. But those people also don't value movement. And it's a value equation, right? Like we pay a lot of money for a coach. A lot of people won't do that, but it's something that we value. I had an employee that would spend hundreds of dollars on shoes. And I'm like,
that's right. Yeah.
I'll buy Vivos. These things are expensive to me,
right.
but like, I'm not going to buy a fucking pair of Jordans for $500, $800.
Absolutely.
It's just, I don't value it. Even if I can't afford it.
That's right.
It's not that I don't have the money.
That's right.
It's that it's not worth it.
You can't see the value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When people find things valuable, they pay for it. Like they were talking about, who was it was presenting, talking about the average like credit that people have, right? It's $700, $800 or something like that.
Yeah. Across
America, mostly on non-essentials. I want a TV. I want this. I want that. Like the shit that's important to them. People make it happen.
That's right.
Right. But I have plenty of people that are like, well, I've had this conversation where people are like, well, I can't afford it. I'm like, okay. I mean, most people just put on a credit card. And they're like, I'm not willing to do that. I'm like, all right. Just so I understand, what would you do tomorrow if your car broke down and you needed a new transmission?
Right.
And they're like, well, I'd put on a credit card.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that your car is more important than your health.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's not it. I'm like, well, you're willing to spend money and use your resources on your car. Like, well, I need a car.
Right.
You don't need a car. Actually, there's plenty of people out there that don't have a car. There's a bus. You can ride a bike. You can fucking get Uber. Like, you don't need a car.
That's right. That's right.
It's a first world commodity, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't need health. Is that what you're saying? Like, you don't need to be able to. Like, you only get one life. You know, and that's the way that I think about it. And that's what I thoroughly believe that. Like, you get one fucking life, man. Like, there are no redos. You could spend 10 years in back pain, or you could spend fucking a couple $1,000s and actually get out of back pain,
Right.
and enjoy it. Like I've asked people that when they're like, well, that's too expensive. Like, gotcha. Just so I know, if you could have paid $2,000 15 years ago and not dealt with this for the last 15 years, like, would it have
Right.
been worth it to you?
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
If you want to deal with another 15 years, like this is your opportunity, man. You got a
For
chance
sure.
to do something else.
And I used to take it personally, right?
Yeah.
And I don't take it personally anymore. I almost look back at it and say, obviously I didn't deliver the value because they didn't see it. You know what I mean? So sometimes I used to be like, man, that patient's cheap. You know what I mean? But maybe they're not. Maybe I just didn't show them the value appropriately. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe they left being like, wow, I don't really get what the value is here. What's so great? You know what I mean? That's my fault. I fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but if I get a response like, hey, I can totally see the value. Right now, it's just not the time. I feel like I did my job, and then we can have a conversation like what you just had.
Yeah.
But if it's just somebody shutting me down, I'm like, I fucked up. That was me. That wasn't them. That was me. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people will be like, well, it doesn't work in this area. It works in every fucking area that I know of.
Yeah.
That I don't know of anybody that's struggling, you know, all across the country. It's you. That's the problem.
Listen, I mean, if you decide to open up shop like in the hood, in the ghetto somewhere, like in Section 8 housing, like maybe bad choice.
Right.
But people are like, well, my area is low income. Dude, the fucking town that we're below the national average income.
Yep.
But we charge a shit ton of money for people to come see us.
That's right.
Right? And it's not that like it's greedy. It's like, dude, if you want to be able to fucking have profit, because I work my ass off.
Yep.
You want to be able to have profit. You want to be able to pay your employees well, have fucking benefits, right? Buy them shit, like buy new equipment, give them the things that they want, and like run a profitable business and not be getting a divorce because you're fucking stressed out all the time.
Yeah.
Then you need to be charging something that allows you to make decent profit margins. Because there's taxes, there's overhead, there's equipment, there's unexpected expenses. Like there's all the fucking shit that employees don't think about.
That's right. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
Which obviously I'm happy to dive into. But I mean, I used to always take that personally too, you know, when my employees would, you know, get upset if I wasn't paying them enough, or be like, oh, it must be nice. You know what I mean? But now I'm just like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's just, it's what it is. You know what I mean? I pay you over market value for what the job is telling you you're worth. I do. And I'm okay with that. Like I always pay for performance, always, you know,
100%.
Yeah. So, I mean, and people would look at that and be like, oh, well, you know, you're in cash pay, so you're probably going to make less. Actually, you make more. And I've got a PT coming out the second year that's going to make more than even some home PTs make. Mm-hmm. He's crushing his numbers every single month.
As long as they perform.
That's right.
You can't expect.
You have to work for it.
Yeah. You can't expect to come in and be like, I want $100,000.
That's right.
Show me that you can convert and retain clients and can do your fucking job well, and then we can talk. But you have to maybe eat a little shit up front, because I'm going to lose money until you're profitable. Like people don't think about that. Like it's literally coming out of my pocket to pay you when you're not performing well. Mm-hmm. You know, listen, we could talk forever. I think we've been doing this for like an hour.
Yeah.
We should probably end it.
That's good.
I don't even know what I'm going to like put for the fucking description of this episode. It's a solid riff. So if people want to find you, they want to reach out, they want to find more about you, or just stalk your Instagram, check out your biceps.
For sure. Yeah. Well, if in terms of like our business is Proform Physical Therapy, so Instagram is Proform PTMA. If you're looking for like a model that you're curious about cash pay, as well as it's very, very similar model as yours. In terms of like the consulting and the coaching, it's Chad_Burnham. That's me personally. They want to check out my biceps. I do put workout videos on there too, so it's not just all businessy shit. Or if you like to feel offended, you can totally give me a follow. That's totally fine, or maybe not. So, or it's chadburnham.com. You know, if you want to like look at more in what I offer, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for joining me, Ro.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. This is great.